Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about homelessness in general in the United States alone. According to Wikipedia.org, as many as 3.5 million people experience homelessness in a given year. And in my opinion right there, that's 3.5 million too many. Really, the thing is, there's often a misconception about homelessness. A lot of people, I think, kind of look at it superficially. They'll see somebody that's homeless and they automatically stereotype him or her and think, oh, the person's, degenerate or drunk or somebody that's doing drugs. Sometimes they may be, but this isn't the case all the time. A lot of times, people might be homeless because of a lack of affordable housing is one additional reason. Somebody could be terminated due to workforce reduction, and they might run out of money in the bank prior to getting their first unemployment check. There are a number of instances where people become homeless, and it wasn't because they had this intention of doing it or they were lackadaisical. Sometimes people experience elements that are beyond their control that lead to the homelessness. And the harsh reality is, we could say, that homeless people, in a lot of instances, they don't, they have the ability to extricate themselves from the situation, and simply do not. This may be true sometimes, but we can't say that all the time. By us, turning a blind eye and acting oblivious to homelessness, we could actually be unwittingly contributing to the problem. It doesn't really take an overabundance of effort to help homeless people out. Now, I'm not saying that somebody should just take a homeless person in, that they see automatically on the street because you don't know the person. But if it's somebody that maybe you've known for some time, or you've established some kind of rapport, they've established credibility with you or what have you, even if it's just for a night or two, get that person, a shower, and get them, give them some self-esteem and make them feel good about themselves. Maybe they can make some phone calls to help themselves out and better their situation, perhaps, as an example. I experienced homeless 2 times. I was homeless when I lived in New York. I was, sometimes I was in an abandoned, staying in a shed, or I was in the back seat of a car in an auto body shop that my friend owned. Homelessness can be a very humbling experience. I was homeless a second time from 2006 to 2010. It was approximately 4 years. It was actually, I think it was July of 2006 I became homeless. 2010 of June I was homeless till about that point in time. Now, in that period, I had a place to stay constantly, but I was very peripatetic, if lack of a better word to use, and that's an understatement. I was bouncing from one place to another. I almost felt like a foster child that was staying in one place and then being given up and then having to go somewhere else. It was a very unsettling experience. People a lot of times don't realize on the they see homeless people on the surface, and a lot of the feeling is it could be very negative and derogatory, things they think about them. But, take a moment maybe to maybe put yourself in a homeless person's predicament and situation. And a homeless person, a lot of times, they may not show it on the surface, but they can be in a constant state of trepidation and fear, imagining not having a home and being out on the street and not knowing sometimes where you're going to get your next meal from. Very unsettling experience. There were a number of times, like I was staying at a hotel, and I didn't, get my money till to pay for it till almost, within the last 15 to 30 minutes. It was very frightening. Homelessness is not a joke. Now, there are some people, I'm sure, that have potential to get themselves out of the situation and don't, but there's other people that are in, a situation where, where the situation might have just become very overwhelming, and they're maybe not insurmountable, but at least in their mind, very close to it. The thing about being homeless is, and especially in the true literal sense, when you're not even sheltered, I mean, not only, like I said before, you could be person can be very petrified and scared. It can almost be like a vicious cycle. You keep trying to, you want to get out of it maybe, but if you're not given the opportunity to get out of it because your appearance, for example, some homeless people may look disheveled. They could get, I understand, okay, we have, where I'm staying in Nashville, Tennessee, they have a food stamp program, and I believe it's somewhere around $200, might be the max for a month. But what people could do is maybe expand the food stamp program and maybe put, an extra, $30 to $50 on it per month, which would include hygienic hygienic products such as toiletries, soap, deodorant, shampoo. Because food, I mean, don't get me wrong, food is good and you can survive and subsist with it, but to really, look good for an interview, you still need your hygienic stuff, and that is not included on the food stamp program, of course. And what I've noticed in what I wanted to say also is, as far as being homeless, my first-hand experience, what happens is, it's not, I mean, it can be so all-encompassing that, like in my case, a lot of times I couldn't even experience any emotion because I had so many different thoughts and emotions going on simultaneously. I was unable to convey or express any one. I felt like at times I was in this constant dazed state, and I just didn't know what was going to happen one minute to the next, where my life was going, what was I going to do. The fear, it can be so overwhelming. In the place I stay at now in Nashville, Tennessee, they've taken away a lot of the bus benches. And I'm not saying this is definitely to deter homeless people. Maybe that factored in. But, that's one less place that a homeless person can lay their head on now. Or places that they can lay their head on now, I should say. What's really important is, I'm not saying that, all homeless people, are non-threatening. There might be some that are. There might be some that have weapons on them. There's some that are in their plight because of their own undoing. But at the same time, we don't want to judge all of them and put them in the same category and stereotype. That is for sure. Now, I don't know what the number is now, but in the city and state that I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, that, a number of years ago, there was a stat that indicated that Nashville looked down upon a marginalized society more than any other city, or at least I believe major city in the nation. And it was a little hard for me to understand that in a way, because Nashville, is very, people are very diplomatic and tactful and polite, and benevolent and kind. But for some reason, we have a lot of things that are superficial here, I guess, and materialistic, and that's something that comes along, maybe here as well. And the thing about, I think, the homeless people and society is that we can, if we all just maybe collectively did a little something to help them, even if it was just, $1 or $2 out of our pockets, a little can go a long way. We'll probably never, I don't know if we'll ever be able to eradicate homelessness completely, But I mean, people can sure make a big dent in it if they're all, everybody just willing to contribute a little bit, even if it's to an organization that is designed to be beneficial to homelessness. And basically that's what I want to get on. And another thing too is, even though right now I am officially not homeless, the problem is I'm staying in a hotel currently. And the weekly rate or what have you it can be exorbitant and extravagant. And I have been unable to get an apartment because I don't meet the financial criteria for it. Now, in theory, it's possible if I don't find a place, and I wind up, running out of money before my next government check arrives, I could be homeless even if it's for a short period, a week or two. So I'm not completely out of that, realm of possibility in terms of, my fate, in terms of maybe possibly being homeless again. It could happen to anybody at any given time. I mean, if some kind of natural disaster wipes out a person's business or something, they could be homeless for a certain period if they don't have much money in the bank. Well, people, that's pretty much going to conclude what I wanted to get at as far as the homelessness in the United States and in the world in general. And until next time, people, stay well.